commercial, when you say commercial, you're talking about commercial office. So that's definitely has gone down a ton, and that will go down a ton because of the pandemic. Because business owners saw and they practiced how they can have their employees work from home, right? I don't invest in commercial office. I invest in commercial retail, and commercial medical, commercial dental, and then flex and industrial buildings.
Are you afraid? Because guess what?
I'm not afraid.
Rich people will not be rich if that happens.
I'm not afraid, though.
And we got to have assets. What the fuck are assets going to do? Who's going to pay your rent?
Yeah.
You own all the buildings in the city, but no one's paying rent. Who cares who owns those buildings? Not only that, if I got a gun, who gives a fuck that you own these buildings? Like, come get me out. What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio, folks. I got a real treat for you. Josh Zieglowsky. What's happening, Josh?
What's happening, Brad?
Folks, if you guys don't remember him, he was here maybe a year ago, I'd say. He's the founder of the Chandler Group and co-founder of ERC Specialists. We did a podcast about a year ago talking about, maybe it was a little bit longer, I don't know, I have to check, but we were talking about business owners who were around during COVID that had some money due to them, and if they just simply filed, they would get roughly $26,000 per employee back.
Up to, yep.
Yeah, and everyone was like, this is bullshit. That just can't be real. Even me a little bit. I didn't know for sure, you know, but I was like, hey, it sounds like too good not to talk about. So we talked about it, and I think since then, dude, you guys have gotten back my listeners over $30 million.
Yeah, just from your podcast. Yeah.
30 million in refunds. I mean, well, they're not refunds, really. They're rebates almost.
Yeah, they're like a rebate. That's the best way to describe it. Technically, in the IRS's eye, it's called an overpayment that they pay back based on your payroll.
And just for the record, because if people are, perked up when I'm talking about this, so we got back 30 million. And right now, I always thought, well, that was over. That was a year ago. Mm-hmm. But it's actually been extended. So I said, let's come back, talk about it again, because I know I have a lot more listeners right now are in business. And I'm telling you, a little bit of money always seems to go a long way in certain cases. So if you had employees during COVID, and you have not gotten your money back from the government, which, by the way, it's governmental. It's totally legit. This isn't a maybe. This is a fact. I've seen it with my own eyes. You need to go get your money back, up to $26,000 per employee. So if you had 5 employees during COVID, guess what? That's about $130,000. That's decent. That's decent coin.
Yeah, and it's something that you don't have to pay back. That's one thing.
It's not a loan.
Yeah, it's not a loan. It's
a refund almost.
You can use it for whatever you want in your business too. So
and it really shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that got their check. It's like, holy shit, dude, this is real.
Yeah.
So it's called the ERC Employee Retention Credit. A lot of people know about it. You may have heard about it now. Back when I had you guys on the show, nobody heard about it. Except you guys.
Yeah.
Did you invent it? You didn't invent the program.
No.
You stumbled across it.
Just by, because I'm a serial entrepreneur and was looking for extra stimulus for another business, and came across it and talked to my CPA, a payroll company, and both of them couldn't help me. So I just was like, hey, this could be an opportunity. We can help third-party businesses. And now today, what are we, April 19th or 20th? We've helped 52,000 businesses so far.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And again, little money can go a long way, make the big difference. Stay in a business and not stay in a business.
Yeah.
So, folks, right now, the real ERC specialists, plural.com. If you're a business owner, you did not file, go to the real ERC specialists.com. Editors will put the link in the thing and make sure you know where to go. The real ERC specialists, plural.com. The real ERC specialist.com, and then just fill out like a little quick ass form they got there, and they'll tell you how much money you probably have coming back. So at least go see how much money you got sitting there. If you don't know how much money you got sitting there, go to the real ERC specialist.com and see, because again, that's how everyone got their money back last time we did this.
Yeah, I tell people not to pre-qualify yourself. Don't.
I did. I did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the reason why you did is because, and we talked about this, is during 2021, this was amended 5 different times, and back when you probably looked at it with your tax person, you probably didn't qualify back then. But because they've added so many different amendments to make it, even Forbes did an article that's in early 2022 saying up to 80% of businesses that have under 500 W-2 employees actually qualify for this, yet 7 out of 10 don't even know about it. And that's when really the barn door opened, is because all these different amendments of supply chain and different things. We can certainly go over that, but I always tell people it doesn't cost you anything to go on the website on the realeRCspecialist.com, go through the questionnaire. We don't ask for a credit card. You'll go through and it's going to tell you at the very end, what you need to upload for us to continue to qualify you. But it's going to tell you if you don't qualify then. But again, it's going to take you 5 or 10 minutes per EIN to see if you qualify or not.
That'd be foolish if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll just say that in the beginning in case, people have to jump off. I just want to make sure up front and in advance, I told you, go get your money, folks. If you were around in COVID, you had employees, W-2 employees, do it. And even if you didn't, go to the realeRCspecialists.com and see if you qualify. Because even if you didn't and it says you qualify, well, shit, it looks like they know something you don't. Maybe some law changed. Maybe something passed that we don't know about. But anyway, so the real ERC specialists, that's what you started. You were the co-founder of.
Co-founder. We ended up having a few partners at the very beginning after me and another friend co-founded the company, and now we have close to 230 employees in about almost a year and a half, 2 years. So it's been a fun ride.
Because there's money coming left and right to you, isn't there?
Great. The thing is too,
you take a little piece of the money you get refunded.
Yeah, you're right. Because there is one crappy thing with the program. It does take 6 months on average for the money to be sent from the IRS. And so with that, we said, hey, we're not going to take any money up front. We're going to wait until they get their money, and we're going to take 15%. That's what we agree upon of what they get approved for. So if they get $500,000, it's 15% of that or whatever the number is.
And that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a win-win situation because we're actually waiting to get paid as well, and so we're doing all the filing stuff. And the reason why CPAs and payroll companies, majority of them don't do this, and I always tell people, don't get mad at your CPA and your payroll company for not doing this, because they specialize in your 1040s and 1120s. This is amending your 941s, your quarterly reports. And usually payroll companies don't amend. They just do active payroll returns, and so that's where we became like a specialty company. Kind of like if you go through a divorce, you don't call a real estate attorney to defend you. You call a divorce attorney. We're that specialty company that helps people with that. And so we don't want to do your taxes. We want to work with your tax professional in order to make sure you're getting the maximum amount possible for the program.
And as far as making money goes, because I made over $1 million in commission the last time an episode dropped. I'm hoping that you guys go and do this again this time and make me another million, maybe 10 million in commission. But it's also an opportunity where anyone listening technically can get commission as well.
Yeah.
So again, you guys want to make money doing it like I did, go to the Real RC Specialist, the realeRCspecialist.com, and click become an affiliate, and then just sign up, and you automatically get your link and make a ton of dough. It's the easiest dough I've ever made, I got to be honest.
Yeah. And
I thought it was bullshit, but sure enough, and it did take a while, but sure enough, 6-7 months later, bink, 50 grand hits the account, bink, 62 hits the account, bink, 120 hits the account, bink, 60 hits the account. I'm like, damn, dude, it's starting to pay off. And in reality, some of those businesses that I got to enroll and do it with, I knew.
Yeah.
So they would call me and go, holy shit, bro, I just got my $300,000 check.
It's a pretty cool, it happens all the time. And I love those testimonials.
I had a couple of them send me money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On the side?
I opened an envelope once, there was $5,000 in it, cash. Said, hey, this is for helping me get my money back from your deal.
Best story I've ever heard is one of my affiliates did it for someone that ended up getting like $600,000 or $700,000. He was so ecstatic that he said, "What's been your classic car you've always wanted?" It was like some, I think 68 or 69 Camaro, and he went and bought it for him. That business owner. I've never heard that. I've never heard that done after that, but that was a pretty cool story.
It is a cool story. And I'll tell you, if you ever want to top it, it'd be awesome. You say, hey, I was on this dude podcast and I've got him a fucking, I'd say Ferrari, but I already have 2. Let's figure out something else. A personal jet.
Personal jet.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a good story you could tell?
That'd be a great story.
Now, you guys must be making a ton of dough, though, getting all these people the money back. Like, how, did that change your life? Is this life changing?
It is. For me, for sure. It's, it's more than retirement type of money.
What were you making beforehand?
I was doing commercial real estate.
Were
doing
you making
well.
good dough?
7 figures. Yep. Doing well with it. And this is definitely outpaced that.
And you just, and folks, we talked about it a year ago, so go get the other podcast if you want to know the origin. But basically, you were struggling financially and otherwise. You were looking for every way to save money, and you literally found out this program and like, hey, wait a minute. Then you went to research it and try to get it done, and it was a pain in the ass. You realized everyone would have a pain in the ass trying to do it themselves, so you started this company with the other dude and started saying, hey, we'll do it for you. Not only alerting people that it exists, but also handling it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I was always doing commercial real estate, but I had another side business that I was a minority owner in. And it was in oil, and price per barrel was negative $60 a barrel one day in 2020. And so I was just trying to help that business get through the pandemic. Cause that business was basically living off PPP money. I still had my commercial real estate, was doing well, really well, but it was that little small business that we had. And I was told like, hey, take a look at this because President Biden amended it. So I looked into it, called my CPA, which is a really prominent CPA nationally, and he said, hey, I do your 1040s and 1120s. I don't do your payroll. So talk to your payroll company. So I called Gusto and ADP, my reps. Both of them said, we don't amend. We just do active returns. So you're going to have to find a third-party company. I called 2 third-party companies. I was like, I could easily start a business on the side. And I actually thought it was just gonna be something small, like kind of like loan modifications back in the day. Like, cause I started that when I was doing real estate and real estate went down during the mortgage meltdown. I thought it was gonna be a little side gig, kind of like the loan modification, which was like a 12, 18 month stint. And then it went to nothing. Right. And then sure enough, they just kept on amending the program to make it better and better and better. And it just ended up skyrocketing. And I don't know if there's no scorecard out there, but I would say we're definitely one of the biggest in the country that does this.
Yeah, because there has been a few people approach me since. Like in this case, Eric Creekmore knew you guys, and then he knew me, so he showed me you guys and said, "Put them on your podcast. You can get your listeners back a bunch of money." I'm like, okay. So since that day, I've probably been approached 4 or 5 times maybe. And it's everybody doing ERC.
Right.
Like right now, it's way more known than it was.
Oh, for sure.
But it's still not very known.
Yeah.
It's still not very known. If you're listening to this and you've never heard of it and you're thinking, no, this can't be true. Folks, it is true. And I don't care if you're a small business, large business, you can get your money back up to $26,000 per employee that you had. Now, again, you might not qualify. Maybe you don't. Well, go find out. Yeah. Take 5 minutes. You can do it on your phone. Take 5 minutes. Go fill it out. And if it says, you got $1 million sitting there, well, then freaking upload the forms and push the button and let's go get it.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said earlier,
it does come.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier too, is like maybe you're not a business owner and you're listening to the podcast. Here's an opportunity you can make some easy side money.
This is the easiest side money I've ever made.
Yeah,
that's what sprung me off on that last thing. You're right. That's where I started by flapping.
Yeah.
If you guys are trying to make money or want to make side money, Christmas is coming up. Things are coming up. It takes a little while to get paid. Why? Because you don't get paid till they get paid.
Right.
But what do you got to do to get the pay? Tell anybody that you know that owns a business, hey, have you got your money back from the government? They're going to be like, what do you mean? You didn't know about the program where you get $26,000 per employee? They're like, no, you better go here and check it out.
Yeah.
You send them to the deal, bam, you're getting paid.
You're really not selling them anything either. Like
not selling them anything. Dude, I haven't sold anybody anything, and I made over $1 million.
Yeah, you talked about how much you made in an hour when we did our podcast. If you're going to talk to a business owner, just so you know, you definitely know someone in your backyard, or Chamber of Commerce or whatever. It literally is a 30-minute conversation, maybe hour tops, and you could make $5, $6, $7, $20,000.
Now, how do you train all those people?
We have a whole system, online system that helps train people, and we have a whole support on our affiliate side, and then on the customer side. In addition to, we do twice a month, we do live Zoom calls, just training all the time. And a lot of times it's, if you're an affiliate for 6 months, it's going to be repetitive, so it's not a big learning curve either.
Dude, it's walking up to somebody that said, hey, you got a business? Yeah, let me show you something. Boom. Now, if you want to get industrial, go get yourself flyers and start canvassing the neighborhood and getting aggressive. You could end up making a shit ton of money.
Oh, I've had some people knock doors in business parks.
All I'm saying is, like, this is a legit opportunity. It's not an MLM either. It's just a legit opportunity. How? Let people know this exists. If they use your link and sign up for that program and get their money back, you're going to get a piece.
Yeah, and you're not going in there and selling something for $100 or $1,000. I mean, you're selling something that's a value.
And not only that, they don't get less because you got some.
Right.
So you're not taking theirs. IRS sends them theirs. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're getting a little piece of the pie on all of them. Yeah. Like, to me, dude, that's just a no-brainer.
It is.
But you being the top dogs over there at ERC Specialists, you got like guys like me sending you a bunch of business. Everybody's sending you business. Mm-hmm. You got all kinds of affiliates sending you business. How are you guys keeping up with the business? Is there any way that, like, I can send you deals that you can't keep up with, or are you guys capable of keeping up with all the deals?
Very capable. Yeah, we're seeing about 400 files a day, filed companies a day. And so we have the staff, the scalability. That's what kind of made us unique, is we made it into technology versus the companies that I talked to at the very beginning, the ones that I was thinking about just doing it myself. Well, for me, it was all manual. It was belly to belly. They wanted to be on the phone with me. They wanted to meet with me in person. And we just said, there's got to be a way that we can get this technology and make it scalable. And that's what we did. And that's what made us skyrocket really quick.
Dude, that's awesome. So what are you doing now? Like, are you more excited about commercial? Because now you got kind of money like you never had before. So it's not a money thing anymore. Yeah.
Well, the thing is I know you relate to this. It's my kids now, right? It's just building even more stuff for them. And for me, I got 4 kids, a beautiful wife, and 2 boys, 2 girls. My boys are 16, 13. I'm already, been teaching them commercial real estate. My mentor, Scott Schill, he has said over the last probably year and a half, the best time to buy commercial real estate in the next 15, 20 years will be the start of Q4 this year, all of next year, and then half of 2025.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
Because of all the commercial pieces and stuff that's going downhill right now. That's going to be the best time to buy, because then you'll be set for a long time. And so I'm preparing that for my own portfolio, and even teaching my kids, because I want them, rather than just give them a chunk of money, I want to give them keys to an apartment building or keys to a retail center, or understanding how to utilize it and make it bigger after I'm gone.
How'd you learn it?
I was in real estate, just flipping houses and wholesaling for a long time. I learned from a guy out of Orlando on how just to do apartment complexes, mobile home parks, and like small boutique hotels. My very first place was actually Boulder City, Nevada, little boutique hotel just probably 20 minutes from here. And then I learned about triple net leases. I had no idea about that. Once I got into that, my wealth, grew, and also learning from Scott was definitely my biggest thing. And it's been now 6-7 years. And
what's a triple net lease?
Triple net lease. So the biggest definition of gross versus triple net. Gross is like a 40-unit apartment complex, meaning the owner, the landlord, pays the taxes, the insurance. If there's a roof problem, a parking lot problem, the landlord covers that. Triple net is like, let's say you own a Wendy's building. Like right now, I'm buying a Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm going to own the building, but a franchise corporate-backed company is going to lease it from me for 20 years. Okay. Now, let's say they have to finish the parking lot or do something with the roof. They pay for that. They actually pay my taxes and insurance too. So I agree on a check for the next 20 years, and they cover all my property management, everything. So it's like kind of like set it and forget it. Granted, that's what's kind of different.
But is it like set? Like, what's their advantage of doing that?
It started back when McDonald's started doing that.
I know, but there has to be some sort of benefit. Like, what's funny is I had a customer one time. I gave him a deal, and he said, and it was a 3-year deal, which is the longest term we tried to get you to agree to. Mm-hmm. And he came back, and one of his stipulations were that has to be a 10-year deal.
He wanted it longer? Probably because you want to be locked in at a better rate.
It is.
In 3 years.
He said, I don't want you raising this on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why would I raise it on you? He said, you make that 10 years, we got a deal. So I made it 10 years, like, duh, pull my arm. Like, of course I'll make it 10 years. So I made it 10 years. And then after about 3 years, he sold the company. The other company came and said, hey, how do we like not use this? And we made it very simple. You just, pay out the remaining. And dude, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, some do.
And then didn't even use it. Like, it was amazing. But that didn't work out for him. He should have went for a 3 years, my point.
Yeah. Well, that 20-year piece, what's good about it, number one, is there's escalation clauses. So every third year, it's a 2%, 3% bump on this one. So I know my rent is increasing over time. The reason why also they do that for not just that long, but why they lease is because they want to use their assets for more locations versus buying this one's going to be $2.5 million. That's a lot of money out of their, bottom line that they can use for other locations and, fixing it up, what they call tenant improvements inside the building.
Now, like when I moved into this building, of course I don't own it. I improved the value of it.
Oh yeah.
Because I signed a lease. So not only did you buy the building, then you had a tenant being ready to lease it out. Doesn't that triple the value of the building? For
sure. I mean, what happened in this space is they gave you an allowance. Let's say you saw it's going to be about $500,000 of renovation or all your equipment. They probably gave you $100,000 and then you paid the rest. So that definitely, anytime I work with like shopping centers, that's the other thing is I'll bring a tenant in. Like I brought Napa Auto Parts in here recently. They go and they do their thing and how they want their stuff to look inside, and that adds value to my whole center.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
So is there creative financing on commercial property?
All the time. Yeah, that's what's kind of interesting is in residential, you can't, what's the word? You can't, what's it? It's like transferring title. I can't remember the name of it. But on commercial, you can. You can easily just transfer a mortgage and transfer the mortgage to someone else versus
without approvals.
Well, I mean, they still want some qualifications, but it's a lot easier in commercial real estate. And a lot of times, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of baby boomers, they have a lot of these properties paid off. If you go and give them a check for $2 million and they have it paid off, they're going to go, they need to put that somewhere else, like a 1031 or whatever. So a lot of times they want to do seller financing and just have the income coming in. They just don't want to manage the property anymore.
So how do you find them?
A couple ways. I have marketing. We also have a lot of relationships with brokers. That's what's kind of interesting too. Is in the residential space, if you talk to a broker or an agent at the very beginning, you want to have them send you some deals so you can rehab the property. If they're a legitimate agent, they already have people they're sending it to before they're talking to you, right? In commercial, it's a little different. So if I talking to you and I'm saying, hey, I'm a commercial real estate guy. And you're like, well, the owner of this place, I'm not a commercial real estate guy, but the owner of this place says he would sell the place, And so you might call him and say, let's say that's like kind of like the broker type of piece. You might just call him. Hey, I think I have a buyer for you. Well, what would you sell it for? $5 million, and you call me.
Can I ask you a question though? Why can't I say, hey, I'm interested in your building. How much do you want to sell it for? And then they say, $5 million, and I say, how about 2, and how about whatever. Mm-hmm. I get my best price that I can get from you, and then I turn around and go say, hey, I heard you wanted to buy my building over there. It's almost like wholesaling.
Yeah, you could.
Can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, that's crazy. How come everyone's not doing this?
They just don't know the thing about wholesaling and commercial. It's a lot longer though.
So to me, it's just it's middleman shit. Like if I know you are like, how many commercial centers do you have?
28.
Okay, so let's say you want to sell me one.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, dude, Josh, next time you want to sell one, let me know. You call me, you say, okay, I'll sell one. I say, what do you want? You go, it's the one right there in freaking downtown, whatever. And, I'll take $9 million. And then I say, okay, I have 90 days to sell that bitch for anything more than $9 million. Yeah. And that's my money.
Yep. And that's why some people don't do it. I think they should. I mean, I tell people it took me a year and a half to make money in commercial real estate, but I'm glad I stuck with it. Right. Sometimes wholesalers are like, well, I like to do a deal where I can get the money in 14 days or 7 days. Commercial is going to be 90 to 180 days because someone's going to put in a contract. They're going to see all the leases, who leases this whole building, what the terms are, all that kind of stuff, and talk to a bank if they need to go get financing. That's another 2 months, And so a lot of times that's why they don't do it. They're like, I just don't want to sit there for, 3 to 6 months. But I mean, I had someone my buddy called me last week. He did a wholesale deal on a commercial property, a storage facility, $450,000. So it's the most I've ever made on a one deal transaction in my life.
Well, how do you find them though? Cause like I'm driving down, you're not from Vegas, but you would know what I'm talking about then. I'm driving down over here and I see kind of a old shopping center, with this grocery store type of shopping center, little strip mall type, shopping center. That's commercial.
Yeah.
And so, but it's all empty. Like there's no store. There used to be an Albertsons there. There's no Albertsons there. There used to be stores all around. There's one every other, 10 feet type of thing. Now it's a ghost town. Couple of stragglers, but there is a McDonald's on one end and a Starbucks on the other. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this a dead strip mall? Like why whoever owns this can't seem to rent these fucking things out? Why? Why can't they?
I would say in that case, it might be owned by a pretty big hedge fund that has,
or they just don't
100,
care.
200, and it's just in their portfolio, and they're not really caring about it.
You mean they don't realize this thing has no tenants?
It's funny. I've gotten some awesome deals from that. I just sold it actually. I had it for 4 years. A surgical center in Atlanta, Georgia. Same thing. It was a medical hedge fund, medical office hedge fund, and it was their lowest producer out of like 60 places. And so they gave me a killer deal. I got it. I had cash flow for 4 years and then sold it for probably about $2 million more.
Do you think COVID hurt the commercial market? Because if you ask me, everyone started working from home. Like even now, I had this whole floor. I had probably 80 people running in and off the floor. COVID hit. I had to send everybody home. And then I only brought maybe 20 back. The rest are still working from home, but now I got way too much space. Don't even need it all. Yeah. I leased it, so I'm paying it, whether I need it or not. But my point is, I don't really need it anymore. So you would think if commercial's less in demand, that it's going to make less money.
So commercial. When you say commercial, you're talking about commercial office. So that's definitely has gone down a ton, and that will go down a ton because of the pandemic. Because business owners saw and they practiced how they can have their employees work from home, right? I don't invest in commercial office. I invest in commercial retail and commercial medical, commercial dental, and then flex and industrial buildings. So I'm very specific. And I mean, you probably saw there's been restaurants like, Raising Cane's or whatever has been popping up all over Utah, like during the pandemic and shortly after pandemic. Food hasn't had a problem. Right, those small restaurants, those are the ones I invest in. In addition to, like you talk about this Albertsons opportunity, what I would say to you on that is, if you have a phone number, I would call them and just say, hey, if I just offered you cash for this, because you're not making any money on it, what's the price on it? They might say, well, we're asking $3 million.
Okay, well, here's the question. So let's say they ask $3 million, and I'm a sucker. I say, okay, fine, here, and I give them $3 million, and now I own it, and I can't rent it out. Is it possible that they couldn't rent it out because it's not rentable?
No, could be, but so putting under $3 million, and even if you said I'll give you cash, they're just not going to turn around. You're not going to turn around. You wouldn't be a good investor if you just turn around and gave them cash. You're going to put it under contract. You're going to have that 3 to 6 month period to see also. So sometimes one of the strategies is we put under contract, but then we're calling, Albertsons, Kroger. Hey, you guys interested coming back here? I'm getting other tenants in place. Then people start getting more interested. Sometimes I've gone 6 months where I haven't had anybody that's like, dude, no, we're not interested at all. Then I back out. That means I didn't lose any money. I lost time, but now I have teams in place for the Chandler Group that goes and does certain things in that process.
Well, dude, again, one of these days you need to make a course for that, because I need to know.
We should.
I need to know more about commercial real estate, because you're making a killing. I know this other dude's making a killing. I thought commercial included office space. You're saying, yeah, but that's office commercial.
Well, so there's just different asset classes. And the other part I love about commercial too is the tax benefits, not just as an owner, but also that an owner is what they call a general partner. Then there's limited partners. Let's say you're like, hey, Josh, I'm interested in putting a couple $1 million over the next couple of years in your commercial real estate projects. Well, there's awesome tax benefits with that, with tax cost segregation. You know, sometimes people always, you know, there's probably Trump likers, Trump haters on here or whatever. But the one thing I was...
No haters.
No haters. That's awesome. Because people always said, how does, you know, Donald Trump pay $70,000 in taxes, yet he's a billionaire? Well, what is he? He's a commercial real estate investor. He understands those tax benefits. And that's the other thing too, is
well, that's one way.
Yeah.
But another way is because he has his shit set up in a series of trusts.
Sure.
So when you get, you know, into a elite, you know, a wealth status of the elite, you have different rules.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, that's not true. It is true, because people will show you how to set up structures and charities and trusts and shit to where all the money that you quote unquote make is not taxable. Yep. And the reason they don't change the laws is because all of the elite and super wealthy are leveraging those same ass loopholes for themselves. And when you cannot pay taxes versus someone that must pay taxes, you have a big advantage. And I'm not talking about no taxes, because of course you're going to pay taxes, but instead of paying money on $500 million that you produced, you know, you're paying out of $500 million, you're paying tax on the $60,000 salary you were given.
Yeah.
But that's you.
Right.
Your trust was given the $499 million, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's just another reason why he don't pay taxes. It's not just real estate, but his real estate is why he's writing off all that debt, right? That 970, I think it was.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, because he did a cost segregation?
Tax cost segregation, right.
But he did that on the building, or because...
Most likely. Yeah, definitely he did. Do you? All the time.
Yeah. So you go to a building and you say, let's write it all off in 1 year. Don't you have to pay the taxes in?
Well, you get 39 years. So it's
you can take it all in 1 year if you want.
Yeah. Of the 39 years all in 1 year.
I would do that.
So like I had one deal that actually the Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm putting in on one of them, I'm putting in $1 million of my own money, and I'm going to get almost 2.5 times back in tax benefit. So $2.5 million of tax benefit come back to me based on me putting that $1 million in.
See, then it's a no-brainer, because if you didn't put the $1 million in, you'd have to pay $2.5 million in taxes to the government, get nothing. Yeah. So why not spend $1 million and not give?
Right.
But that's what the wealthy are doing. See, so you're starting to reach that upper echelon wealth level.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is I knew about this when I started commercial real estate, you know, and not right at the get-go, but Scott, my mentor, taught me all this stuff.
So how would I get into commercial real estate right now? What would you do? First three things you'd have me do, knowing I have a little money, I got 830 credit score. Like, tell me what you would do if you were me. I
would contact any commercial broker you know. And just tell them like, hey, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. Like, you know, I can obviously do a small
facilities.
Pitch, like retail. I'm interested in commercial retail.
Explain what retail is.
Retail is like a shopping center,
like the Albertsons one.
Albertsons. It could even be like the Buffalo Wild Wings is considered restaurant retail.
Well, again, Buffalo Wild Wings usually aren't standalone. They're in a little strip mall.
Well, the ones I'm buying, it's standalone.
Standalone, huh?
It's called a single tenant. But still, it's, you know, the one I was talking about is single tenant, but it could be in a center. Let's say it's in a center.
Yeah, well, or a strip mall.
The same thing. Yeah, I in my mind I say shopping center, but strip mall is in the same umbrella.
Yeah, here's another thing my friend does. So he'll go and find a piece of property, let's say 10 acres, whatever. Mm-hmm. He'll build the big building and ultimately sell it to Exxon or Chevron on a lease before he builds anything, before he does anything. Yeah. He's got this whole thing set up. It's the craziest shit I'm saying. So Chevron says to you, I will lease that 45,000 square foot building from you at X amount for 20 years if you build it.
Yep.
And then he says, look to the bank, look what these guys will do. And the bank says, bang, there's the money to build it. There's the money for the property. There's the money for everything. And this guy's ultimately just finding property to make a building to lease to Chevron.
That's what I do. So I don't do any what they call development or building now, but mostly because there's so much opportunity because prices went up on construction, right? So existing is going to be even a better deal, where it's costs probably, like if I can get a deal for $2 million, it probably is actually costing $6 million to build that same center these days.
Okay, so I interrupted and I don't want to because this benefits me. What would you do if you were me right now?
Okay, number one is contact any broker, commercial broker. They're all called brokers. There's no agents. So, and just tell them I'm into commercial retail, dental, medical facilities.
What about storage?
What's that?
Storage
facilities. Isn't as sexy as it was before. There's not really great deals in storage. If you're
There's
getting
a lot of people storing shit.
You can't get great deals on it like you used to.
Oh, deal on buying it.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the first thing.
So right now the great deals are medical,
retail,
dental,
and then flex industrial.
Flex is like the ones with the big doors. It could be okay.
Yeah, and it has like a little retail spot in front of it.
Yeah, and what's industrial?
Kind of like those big industrial buildings where it still has a bay and stuff, and they just store stuff like an Amazon big facility.
Like a shipping warehouse.
Yeah,
There's nothing really there. It's just a big warehouse.
Yeah.
Those are valuable too.
Very valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know someone that has one here in town for 10,000 square feet. He hit me up. No, he was looking for 10,000 square feet.
Oh.
I was going to use that to go start, looking like, hey, maybe I'll buy a 10,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
So knowing those things, how would I start doing that? I'm going to call a commercial broker. They're going to send me these deals.
They'll send you these deals. They'll even think about maybe old clients that they represented 3 or 4 years ago and call them up and says, hey, I know you're possibly wanting to sell here in the next couple of years. I think I have a buyer. And they might even ask you something specific, like, well, what's your price range? 2 to 15 million. That's usually what I tell people, right? I don't want anything below that and anything. But the thing is, I've looked at $20, $30 million deals too, but you kind of give them that range. They're going to give you that cream of the crop.
What does $5 million get you?
Probably a 50. It depends on the area. Like I have a property in Indianapolis. It's 55,000 square feet shopping center for about that, but
where if you paid it, you own the thing, lock, stock, and barrel.
If you paid cash.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't be a good strategy.
I'm just saying, if you did.
Yeah.
So the value of the property at 55,000 square feet is about $5 million. If you bought it for $5 million, and I could get terms where, what is it, 20% down, 30% down?
30.
Say you put 30% down on $5 million, that's only $1.5 million. Now you just bought a thing that's worth $5 million. The bank pays the rest, and now how much are you cash flowing off that building?
Oh, I mean, I had this one investor that we ended up selling that surgical center. She made almost 85% return over 3 years.
But I'm looking to lease to tenants triple net leases.
That's the same thing. I was just saying that she made a really good return on her money. It could be, I think in her case, I think she put in $100,000 and she was cash flow on. She was almost making about 12 to 13% a year on cash flow, and then when we sold it, she made a big bump at the very end. So like my shopping center I just said in Indianapolis, I get about $50,000 a year, and it's a set it and forget it. Like it's a Cinemark theater.
But how much cash do you have sitting in there?
When we raised the money, it was like $800,000 is all. And now we've probably have about $3 million equity in it.
So that $800,000 though, it has been gone since you guys put it down.
It went towards the mortgage balance at the very beginning.
Right, but it's still gone. Nobody got that money back. If I invested in that and I wrote the check, my $800,000 would not be back. But I have been making cash flow this whole time.
Yep.
But my money's not back.
Right.
And then 2 or 3 or 5 years later, someone offers me a multiple and I make $2 million and I cash out. That's when I get my $800,000 back or my profit.
The big one. Yeah, that and plus more.
And then in the interim, I'm writing off the depreciation and getting all kinds of freaking tax savings on my other income or other shit I got going on.
Yeah. Yeah. My limited partners, investors, they're very happy.
Yeah. Like, dude, do you need more limited partners?
Always.
See, now again, I'll tell the bomb squad, hey, go be a limited partner if you want to make some dough, because you're not losing it. I know that. Are you?
No.
But now everybody goes and invests, and Brad Lee, shit out of luck. I'm on the sidelines going, how'd it work out for you? I need to figure out, like, number one, what is the deal? Because maybe I'll give you the money and not have to dick with it myself. But I always want to know myself.
You should.
Like, because if I give you money and I'm like, hey, that's fantastic, thank you. If something happens to you, I'm back in the same boat. But if I were to say, I don't necessarily want to give you my money, but I will give you some money to learn what you're doing. That's why I said, of course, because like for some reason, I want to know myself. I want to be on the phone. I want to go get a tenant. I want to know what all that shit means. Mm-hmm. And that's what always keeps me from doing anything, because I realize I got a million other things going on. I'll do that later, and later never comes.
I actually encourage all my limited partners to be educated, because I want them to know the risk. There's still a risk. Like, for instance, that one in
like if you can't rent it out.
Well, the one in Indianapolis, you know, during the pandemic, I have a theater, Cinemark Theater. Who was going to movies during the pandemic?
I was.
Nobody. I'm just saying, like,
do you know why I
went
was?
Down to support it?
No. Well, hell no, because you weren't allowed to. They shut you down. But I would rent out the whole theater.
Oh,
this place over here, Green Valley Regal, you could rent out the whole theater. Then you weren't in violation of anything.
That's cool.
And it would, dude, literally, I would take my family in there on a weekend, Saturday night, for I think $190 bucks,
awesome.
And the whole fucking theater was mine, and they'd play the movie. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
They don't do it anymore. Theaters are back, bro.
Well, they are back. But what I'm saying is, during that time, luckily, the franchise owner had almost 6 to 12 months of savings that he was paying his employees just to pay him, because the state government wasn't giving him any type of relief.
Can you get a hold of him?
What do you mean? He's my tenant.
Well, does he realize that if he had W-2 employees during COVID?
Oh, yeah, he did.
He does? All right.
He was one of my first. I was calling all my tenants. You know?
I was going to say, let me talk to him.
Yeah.
Dude, anybody that has a business that ain't getting their money back is foolish.
I know.
Or lazy. Because again, believe it or not, you could give me a coupon somewhere and I don't give a fuck, because like I'm not a real big coupon guy. Right. But it really boils down to I'm foolish. Why? Well, because, you know, over time that shit adds up. But we're not talking about, oh, they're going to give you $2.60 per employee. Dude, they're giving you up to $26,000.
It's unreal.
Which means if you only have 5 people, that's $130,000. We had 80 some.
Yeah, we even have churches. I mean, this is for nonprofits too. We have churches from across the country that applies as well. That, granted, they have 4 or 5 employees, but you know, some of them were hurt pretty hard, you know, during the pandemic, and so they actually can qualify as well.
Yeah, and then if you're not a business, you wish you were, and you didn't have any money during COVID, but now you're looking for some. There was about 30 million, I think, businesses in the country during COVID.
Oh, 30 million businesses.
Yeah. Like there's 30 million small businesses. Yeah. You could ask, you know, the statistics, probably get better answer, but it's roughly 30 million businesses, which means you could literally go door to door knocking and prospecting and find people that would fill out your form, because it takes 3 seconds to see if they qualify. And there's people out there doing it, making a living.
Oh, for sure.
Selling the ERC specialist program. They're making a living. They do it full time. That's all they do. So again, if you want to do that, go be an affiliate, even if it's part-time. There's nobody busting your ass, full training, make money. Now, once you make money, drop it into freaking commercial real estate.
And you might think you're too late to the game. You're not. This goes till 2025. And I think it was a month and a half ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, only 35 or 40% of this program has been utilized so far. So there's still a ton of runway. Plus, you know, we're actually going to pivot into something else after this, as far as helping business owners with additional credits.
Yeah, because you guys are already establishing relationships with business owners. Now let's figure out how else we can help them. Yeah. That's called vertical integration. That's called stage next. And by the way, again, I'm sure the affiliate, those are their accounts the way you guys look at them. So you know, they can go in there and walk in with the next product.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah, and I know people. I've been to a few of events. They're making a killing, so do that. But once you make money, the question is, what do you do? And that's where I'm at right now. And that is drop it into commercial real estate. I just wish you had a course we could push so someone would know how to do it, because they're like me. People have money, dude. They just don't have the know-how. Like, I don't want to go buy a building and find out, fuck, dude, you didn't know that thing was on a fault line and a double dip and flood zone, and that's why no one's renting, and you're an idiot, and you just got took. So now I have a $3 million building that I can't rent, and now it's burning my ass. So it's like, how do you know
what's
a good deal, what's not a good deal?
You know the book Who Not How, right?
Yes.
Talks about, rather than figuring out how to do things, figure out who to do it with or for you. That's exactly commercial real estate, though, as well. Is I have about 2 partners, one for sure that I do everything with him. He's in analytics. He's the VP of analytics, or used to be at BP Oil. He's not a guy that's going to negotiate, and go to a property and negotiate with a seller like I am. I'm more of that sales guy and raising money type of guy. He does that back end stuff. Like I always tell him, he's my dream killer as well. Like I'm like, dude, this Albertsons place, it's got a Starbucks and McDonald's. This is going to kill it. He starts running the numbers and all the data pieces. He's like, it's kind of shit. We're going to pass on this one. Really?
Even if it's cheap enough?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the number. Let's say the seller's like, I'm not going below 3. And we're running our numbers and we're like, it only works at 1.8 for us. What's
the formula?
Well, he goes through all that. It's a huge.
But this is what I'd pay to learn. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can go in and do my own formulation.
Well, you'd want to stay
say
in your lane though. Like you'd want like a partner that does certain things where you can just do this and he or she could do that. I would highly encourage that. That way.
But I'd have to find someone that knows what they're doing.
You could find them.
Where?
My guy.
Tell your guy to call me. I'm looking for a partner.
Yeah. And the other thing
by the way, if you would, tell all your commercial broker friends that that I'm looking for buildings.
Yeah. I'm sure you got some listeners that are commercial guys right now all across the country.
Dude, if there's
sending deals to Brad.
I'm not even joking. I'm looking to buy businesses.
Yep.
That's Black Rhino Equity. I just started that. I'm looking to buy and cash infuse and grow businesses. If you're an entrepreneur.
I do that too.
Yeah, that's freaking great. It's, you get all kinds of opportunity.
Yeah.
Plus you're helping, entrepreneurs grow and scale their business. So it's a no-brainer. But if you're a business owner and you want me to invest or buy in, blackrhinoequity.com. But what did you just say right before that? Maybe plug that real quick. But
well, I'm sure you have commercial brokers that are listening right now.
Oh yeah.
And I said, send Brad your deals.
Yeah. So if you're a commercial broker and you happen to be listening, which any commercial brokers in any city in the United States, just hit me in the DM and say, hey, commercial broker, got a few properties to send you. Send them my way. Now, again, I'll be calling you going, what do I do with these?
We should.
But in reality, I do know what to do with them. I'm acting dumber than I am, but I probably don't know as much as I should. So I want to partner with someone to where like I can be like, what do you think? What do you think?
That's what we're here for. And I'm actually developing a whole, because just like ERC specialists, we did on scale and scalability and systems and automation. I'm actually probably about 2 months away from having that all finished on the commercial side as well. I'm really getting prepared for these next 2 years could be something that's the best in the next 20 years.
Do you think we're heading for anarchy in any way?
It's
the collapse of the dollar and all that?
Yeah.
Are you afraid? Because guess what?
I'm not afraid.
Rich people will not be rich if that happens.
I'm not afraid though.
And you got to have assets. The fuck are assets going to do? Who's going to pay your rent?
Yeah.
You own all the buildings in the city, but no one's paying rent. Who cares who owns those buildings? Not only that, if I got a gun, who gives a fuck that you own these buildings? Like, come get me out. So like when I start thinking about the anarchy situation of the dollar collapse and people are like, well, you better have gold. Dude, you better have guns and you better have ammo. That's what you better have. Okay. If that shit happens, you better have guns and you better have ammo.
You can have guns. You need the ammo.
You better have guns and you better have ammo because, dude, with guns and ammo, you can get everything else. Okay. Gold, you may not get anything. Matter of fact, you might get that gold took with someone with guns and ammo.
Someone that knows you have gold.
You need guns and ammo, man.
Yeah.
That's why the Second Amendment needs to be protected at all costs.
For sure.
Not to get political, though. We don't want to get this suppressed. Why? Because, dude, this is an opportunistic episode for everybody involved. Like, dude, if everybody goes and gets help, I get paid, you get paid, they get paid. Everybody wins on this episode.
I feel like we've talked about a few different opportunities. Black Rhino.
You're gonna get several different inquiries.
Nice. Okay.
People are gonna say, listen, I guarantee there's people going, I want to learn commercial real estate, but you don't have a program for that. So soon.
But there's little things that people can do just on the side that it probably take me or my team 15, 30 minutes to kind of go over like, hey, just start with this here and just start sending deals based on those asset classes. And be a hustler. Like when I first started, I was a hustler. What?
How many deals are you looking for? How much can you fund?
A lot. I have, I guarantee you're going to have people that like, hey, I just want to invest. I heard this episode. I want to be part of those types of deals. I have a lot of those already. and there's going to be a lot bigger opportunities. You know, sometimes it's not.
If anyone does, dude, send me a Starbucks gift card so I feel included.
Yeah. I'll do more than that. I mean, there's easy opportunities for you to be involved.
Well, I need to start making money in the real estate world.
Mm-hmm.
And I like commercial better. Why? Triple net leases.
Yeah.
That's why when you said triple net, that's like, oh yeah, what is triple net? Because I keep hearing that. And what interests me is like, if the toilet breaks, they fix it.
Yeah.
If the air conditioning goes out, they fix it. Well, then why are you the landlord? Like, who's willing to agree to that? I would not pay for this building's air conditioner if it went out. I must not be on a triple net lease here.
I don't know. Yeah.
I am not.
You could. But you
could what?
You could or could not. Like, meaning if the air conditioner went out.
It does go out, and I've never paid a dime.
So you're probably on a gross lease.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we get maids in here 4 days a week, paid for it, like it's part of my lease. So when I negotiated this, it was empty. And it was, you know, the guy went overboard, I think, and wanted me in. And so power, you know, leaving the lights on and all that, you're supposed to do like common area maintenance and all this other costs.
You don't do that?
I said, nope, I want X amount. I want to know what I'm paying. So I got a killer deal. That's why I've been here for so long.
That's probably why, because I'll charge CAM to my tenants.
And that's normal.
Yeah, that is normal.
But that's why I like it, because, dude, you don't have any expenses. A toilet goes out, you say, well, fix it.
And it's kind of crazy because we actually have property managers for properties, and you know, and I've done apartments, and people always say, "Oh, just get a property manager; they'll take care of it." No, I mean, when I had my apartments, my property managers were calling me daily. You know, it was a mess. I have a property manager for each property, but they pay for that as well. You know,
so and they all agree to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So someone says, "Hey, I'd like to lease the building right there next to Albertsons, the little 2,000 square foot unit," and I say, okay, it's, you know, $8 a square foot, you know, plus anything happens, you pay for it.
Yep.
And they say, okay.
And you take care of it.
How do they pay for it if it's the air conditioner that runs 4 units and they're only one? Do they just pay 25%?
They pay their percentage of however the center is. So if they're that 2,000 square feet and it's a 20,000 square foot facility, they're going to pay 10% in CAM.
And if you have a vacancy, then you're eating that.
I am. Yeah.
And see, there's where the risk starts coming in. Vacancy.
Yeah.
You don't want vacancy.
Wait, I do when I buy, because when I'm buying it, I want to make sure I already have cash flow with the vacancy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It means it's a good deal without renting more.
And then I just added more value to the property. It went from $2 million with cash flow to now $2.8 million with more cash flow, you know?
And then you start leasing it out and improving it. And then next thing you know, it's a $9 million building with serious cash flow.
Yeah.
Dude, how'd you learn that? You were just, you know, one day.
I was just helping, you know, the guy, Scott Schill, my mentor, he's on Fox Business and stuff, 3 or 4 times a year talking about commercial retail. I met him at an event. He was actually at a real estate expo with Tony Robbins, and, you know, he had a small course, and I was like, I thought it was too good to be true with the triple net. I'm like, no way. People actually do that? They actually pay your tax and insurance too? No way. And sure enough, it's absolutely true. And then it's a huge market, you know?
Yeah, and it's a huge business. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Dude, this is probably going to help a lot of people, you know? TheRealERCSpecialists.com. That'll help Brad Lee and yourself to get your refund. But you got to get your refund somehow. Someone says, well, why don't I just call my accountant? Guess what? I called my accountant. My accountant said, what? Huh? How come accountants don't know about it?
They do. We have a lot of accountants that are actually our affiliates. That's like, hey, I'm going to give you my client base. You know, I have 50, 100 clients that could use this. There's small amount of accountants trying to do this for their clients, but I always tell people is like, get someone that specializes in it. Just keep your accountant in his lane, his or her lane of their 1040s, 1120s. Have them, you know, push this off to someone like us, and, you know, have us try to get the max amount that we can get for you.
If the bomb squad can do anything for you, what would it be? How do we help Josh Zieglowsky?
I think you've already helped me. I mean, this has been great. Second time on your podcast in a year.
How else? Like, what can the bomb squad do? Follow you? buy a book.
Follow me. That's the one thing I've had to kind of work on this last little bit is my social media. Instagram is the Josh Z, at the Josh Z. Hit me up on the commercial side. There's so much opportunities coming aboard in the next 6 to 12 months for about a 2-year period. So it's a good opportunity for a lot of people, not just for me, for you, for your bomb squad.
It's awesome, man. Appreciate you. Hey, folks, you heard him at Josh Z, the Josh Z. Go follow him on social media, and we will see you next time. And as always, keep it real.
Like we talked about, don't want to pre-qualify yourself, number one. Takes 5 or 10 minutes. Don't get intimidated by the questions, because we're there to help you once you finish.
I saw the questions. They're not intimidating. They're not even complicated. Like just go to the website, click the button, see if I qualify, and answer the questions.